Imagine a city, familiar yet transformed Neo-Alexandria, decades from now. Skyscrapers stand as relics, their windows dark, rust creeping up their frames. The streets are quiet, engines silenced, replaced by the murmur of voices and footsteps. Neon signs flicker, advertising not products but skills, a tailor's needle, a basket of vegetables, a promise of repair. People gather in plazas, not for leisure, but to trade what they have for what they need. Bundles, tools, and homegrown produce are the new currency. Faces show resilience, eyes scan for opportunity. This is the new marketplace, direct, human, immediate. No digital transactions, no ATMs, no invisible flow of money. Value is tangible, what you can hold, what you can do, what you can offer. A farmer trades tomatoes for medicine, a musician plays for a meal or boots. Every exchange is a negotiation, a dance of needs and skills. Here, worth is measured by usefulness, not numbers on a screen. The air buzzes with barter, not currency. The digital age has faded. The age of direct exchange has dawned. You cannot eat a stock certificate or build shelter with cryptocurrency. Survival depends on what you can provide. The city's rhythm is set by the pulse of human interaction. Community is the strongest currency. Every day is a test of adaptability and trust. The old world's wealth is gone. New forms of value emerge. In Neo-Alexandria, existence is shaped by what you can give and receive. The silent exchange of goods and skills dictates life. This is a world without money, and here, community is everything. How did we get here? It wasn't a single disaster, but a slow collapse. Hyperinflation eroded savings, digital currencies failed under cyber attacks and glitches. Bank balances vanished overnight. Governments tried to print new money, but it was just paper, empty promises. When the systems behind money failed, so did trust in it. The global financial web snapped, leaving billions with worthless tokens. The illusion of wealth disappeared. Panic set in, followed by a desperate rush for real things: food, water, tools. Old skills resurfaced: growing food, fixing things, healing. These became the new wealth. The transition was harsh, a lesson in true value. Money, once a powerful tool, broke. Humanity had to adapt, finding new ways to exchange and survive. The collapse wasn't just economic, it was psychological. People had to relearn what mattered. The age of abstract wealth ended, tangible value took its place. Communities redefined worth by usefulness and trust. The world shifted from numbers to necessities. The concept of money faded, replaced by direct exchange. People learned to value what they could touch and trade. The unraveling forced a return to basics. Wealth became what you could offer, not what you could count. The world was stripped to essentials, and from the ruins, a new order emerged. From the ruins, something ancient returned: barter. It started small neighbors trading fruit for mended clothes, sharing generators for fuel or repairs. Desperation forged new bonds of community. The biggest challenge? Finding someone who wanted what you had and had what you needed. Barter brokers, people who connected needs, became vital. Their currency was trust and information. Markets formed in town squares, warehouses, crossroads. People brought goods, skills, and needs to trade. Unwritten rules emerged. Rough values for potatoes, water, labor. Prices weren't fixed but negotiated, fluid and local. Some communities used tokens as IOUs, not money, but placeholders for future trades. Each region developed its own system, adapting to local needs. No central authority dictated terms. Order grew from necessity. Barter was a quiet revolution, flexible, creative, and human. The system was imperfect, but it worked. People adapted, creating new networks of exchange. Trust and reputation became as important as goods. The dawn of barter was a return to basics, but with new ingenuity. Communities learned to survive by working together. Every trade was a step toward rebuilding society. The old world was gone, but human connection endured. Barter became the foundation of a new economy, and life moved forward, one exchange at a time. How do people live day to day in this world? Food is everything. Farmers are the new elite, trading surplus at local markets. Urban gardens thrive on rooftops and in parks. Every bit of soil matters. Foraging and hunting skills are prized. Shelter is earned, not bought. People live in repurposed buildings maintained by community effort. Contribute and you belong. Your home is your participation. Healthcare is traded. Doctors and healers exchange skills for food, firewood, or protection. Herbalists and traditional remedies gain new respect. Prevention is key. Complex treatments are rare. Knowledge is a commodity. Teachers, technicians, and artists trade lessons and art for essentials. Storytellers and musicians offer comfort and connection, trading their craft for food or shelter. Everyone must contribute. Your skill is your ticket to survival. Life is a constant negotiation, a direct exchange of value. Community agreements regulate squatting and resource sharing. Participation is the price of belonging. The rhythm of life is set by what you can offer. Every day is a new deal, a new chance to trade. The marketplace is everywhere. On streets, in homes, in conversation. Value is personal, immediate, and real. The barter economy is demanding, but it's also direct. Survival depends on your usefulness, and every exchange shapes the community. Without money, trust is everything. Your reputation is your most valuable asset. Every promise must be kept, every skill delivered as promised. A single broken deal can ruin your standing, and your survival. Trust is built through direct experience and word of mouth. Communities remember who is fair and reliable. Some keep public ledgers of commendations or grievances. Councils or elders may vouch for or mediate between people. Your actions define your worth. The old system relied on collateral and algorithms. Now it's all personal. Every exchange tests your character. Betray trust and you risk ostracism, being cut off from trade and support. Honesty and reliability are woven into daily life. The pressure to be trustworthy is immense. Character is currency. In this world, your word is your wealth. Barter isn't perfect. Scarcity and inequality persist. Resources and skills aren't evenly spread. A poor harvest or a rare skill can tip the balance of power. Defining fair value is a constant negotiation. There are no universal prices. Value is subjective, shifting with need and circumstance. This opens the door to exploitation if unchecked. Those with rare goods or skills can dominate trades. Communities develop informal guidelines, rough equivalencies for common items. Customs shift with seasons and supply. Disputes arise over quality, fairness, or broken deals. Without formal courts, mediation is key. Respected members step in to resolve conflicts. Restitution might mean extra goods, services, or a public apology. The goal is harmony, not just justice. The trading network must be preserved. Flexibility is essential, but so is vigilance. Fairness is a daily challenge. The end of money reshuffles power. Those with practical skills, farmers, engineers, healers, builders, rise to prominence. Community organizers and mediators also gain influence. Former bankers, marketers, and financial experts find their skills obsolete. Value is now context-dependent. What mattered before may mean nothing now. Physical strength and security skills become valuable, especially where order is fragile. This can lead to new power structures, local strongmen or groups controlling trade routes. Communities must guard against exploitation and coercion. Systems of sharing or rotating leadership can help prevent dominance. The struggle for fair distribution of power continues, even without money. The community shapes its own balance. Rewarding skills while preventing hoarding is a constant tension. Some implement sharing systems for essentials. The quest for justice and balance is ongoing. Power is always in flux. The experiment in social organization never ends. In this world, survival and fairness are always in negotiation, and every community writes its own rules. What does success mean without money? Achievement is redefined. Success is measured in security, respect, and contribution. A valued community member is one who provides, whose word is trusted. Wealth is a strong network of reciprocal relationships. Justice is local. Minor disputes are mediated. Serious offenses require restitution or banishment. To be cast out is a social and often physical death. Communities set their own norms for fairness and value. Priorities differ. Some prize art, others engineering. Localism allows adaptation but can also create inconsistencies. Is this system more just or just different? The psychological shift is profound. Labor directly benefits the community. The abstract work of the old world is replaced by tangible results. A well-built house, a healthy patient, a good harvest. These are new measures of success. The connection between effort and outcome is direct and fulfilling. Meaning becomes a kind of wealth. Justice is about restoring balance, not punishment. The community is both judge and support system. Success is belonging, contribution, and trust. And the wealth of meaning endures. What do we see in a world without money? Tighter communities, renewed respect for essential skills. Consumerism fades. People value what they can make and share. Needs take precedence over wants. There's dignity in direct exchange and interdependence. But life is harder, more precarious. Barter is inefficient. Large projects and innovation are difficult. Communities are vulnerable to disaster, lacking monetary buffers. Anxiety about the future is constant. This world forces us to ask, what do we truly value? Is it tokens and wealth or connection, security, health, knowledge, beauty? Money is a human invention, a story we tell. It can change, as all stories do. By imagining its absence, we see its true role. We reflect on what matters most. Beyond coins and ledgers, what is the ultimate measure of a life? Perhaps its meaning